क्रेडिट ऐप व प्राइवेट फाइनेंस कंपनियां कार्य कर रही हैं जो ऑनलाइन ही लोन स्वीकृत कर देती हैं। इनमें आमजन के दस्तावेजों का गलत इस्तेमाल करके भी लोन लेने जैसे साइबर फ्रॉड की संख्या में बढ़ोतरी हो रही है। साथ ही कई बार आमजन का लोन आवेदन इस वजह से भी रिजेक्ट हो जाता है क्योंकि उसके रिकॉर्ड में ऐसा विवरण आता है जो कि उनसे संबंधित नहीं होता है। यह विवरण क्रेडिट रेटिंग एजेंसी की लापरवाही से दर्ज हो जाता है। मेरा आपके माध्यम से सरकार से निवेदन है कि ऐसे लोन देने वाली अनाधिकृत ऐप पर कार्रवाई की जाए ताकि साइबर फ्रॉड बंद हो। साथ ही क्रेडिट रेटिंग संस्थाओं को भी आमजन से रिकॉर्ड में सही विवरण ही दर्ज करने हेतु बाध्य किया जाए। धन्यवाद।
श्री रंजीत सिंह निम्बालकर जी।
माननीय सभापति महोदय, धन्यवाद। मैं आपकी ओर से पर्यावरण मंत्री जी का ध्यान आकर्षित करना चाहता हूँ। मेरे लोकसभा क्षेत्र में माढ़ा लोकसभा क्षेत्र से मैं चुन के आया हूँ। पुणे जिले के मुला और मुठा जो नदी है, रिवर है, वहां से जो इंडस्ट्री का जो पोल्यूटेड वाटर है वो मुला मुठा में छोड़ दिया जाता है और वो छोड़ा हुआ पानी आगे जाके भीमा रिवर में मेरे क्षेत्र में आके मिलता है। और भीमा रिवर के ऊपर उजनी डैम बना है। आज उजनी डैम का पानी इतना खराब हो चुका है कि पानी के ऊपर एक बड़ा सा लेयर, ऑयल का लेयर और गंदगी का लेयर पैदा हुआ है और वही पानी आगे जाके कई लाखों किसान पानी पीने के लिए इस्तेमाल करते हैं और उजनी से पानी छोड़ा जाता है और वो चंद्रभागा नदी में मिला जाता है। चंद्रभागा नदी जो महाराष्ट्र का भगवान विट्ठल की तीर्थ क्षेत्र है, वहाँ चंद्रभागा नदी होती है।
जो आपने लिख करके दिया है उसी को कृपया पढ़िए
जी,
वही रिकॉर्ड में जाएगा।
जी जी। उजनी डैम का पानी आगे जाके चंद्रभागा नदी में मिलकर जाता है। जो पंढरपुर स्थित भगवान विट्ठल जी की माता रुक्मिणी जी के विश्व विख्यात मंदिर से होके गुजरती है। विट्ठल दर्शन के बाद आने वाले भक्त यहाँ चंद्रभागा के नदी में पवित्र स्नान करते हैं। ये प्रदूषित चंद्रभागा नदी का जल आके मुख में लेते हैं, फिर विट्ठल के दर्शन के लिए जाते हैं। आगे जाके इस नदी हमारे लोकसभा क्षेत्र से माढ़ा से और सोलापुर जिले अन्य विभागों में पीने के लिए और सिंचाई के लिए इस्तेमाल करते हैं। महोदय, मैं नमामि चंद्रभागा परियोजना के तहत इस नदी का कायाकल्प करने के हेतु उचित कदम उठाने के लिए मैं आपसे कृपा और विनंती करता हूँ। जय हिंद, जय महाराज।
श्री अर्जुन लाल मीणा जी।
धन्यवाद सभापति महोदय। महोदय, मैं राजस्थान के उदयपुर संसदीय क्षेत्र से आता हूँ। मेरे संसदीय क्षेत्र आदिवासी बहुल क्षेत्र है और भारत सरकार के शेड्यूल 5 में आता है। वर्तमान में उदयपुर संभाग से निर्यात आयात कारोबार की काफी संभावनाएं हैं। इस संभाग की प्रमुख निर्यात योग्य वस्तुएं कपड़ा, खनिज, पत्थर, संगमरमर के हल शिफ्ट, रत्न, आभूषण, खिलौने इत्यादि है। वर्तमान में निर्यात योग्य उत्पाद जयपुर, दिल्ली और अहमदाबाद हवाई अड्डे से भिजवाई जा रही है, जिससे संचालन लागत बढ़ती है। अतः मैं भारत सरकार से मांग करता हूं कि निर्यात आयात व्यापार को आसान बनाने के लिए एयर कार्गो कॉम्प्लेक्स खोलने और उदयपुर हवाई अड्डे पर कार्गो सेवा शुरू करने के लिए उदयपुर हवाई अड्डे परिसर में एयर कार्गो कॉम्प्लेक्स के लिए पर्याप्त जमीन आवंटित करने का श्रम करावे। थैंक यू सर।
श्री देवजी भाई पटेल। श्री ब्रजेंद्र सिंह जी।
Thank you, sir. Sir, Hisar is one of the counter magnet areas chosen by National Capital Region Planning Board for its regional growth potential. It will also be housing an integrated manufacturing cluster soon. Despite the growing developmental activity, there is no direct railway connection from Hisar to Chandigarh, which happens to be the capital of Haryana and Punjab. This is a matter of concern not only for the people of Hisar, but for people of all of Northwest Haryana, parts of Rajasthan and Punjab, for whom Hisar is important for its health facilities, educational institutions and sporting facilities. Currently, the shortest railway route from Hisar to Chandigarh takes almost 6.5 to 7 hours to cover a distance of just about 245 kilometers. This is double the time that it would take if there was a direct railway line which could possibly be laid between Barwala and Narwana or any other feasible route. Therefore, through you, sir, I urge the government to consider this request and ease the access between Hisar and Chandigarh. Thank you.
Mohan Unnithan ji.
Thank you very much, sir. The Life Insurance Corporation has been functioning for the last. The Life Insurance Corporation has been functioning for the last 66 years in country successfully. Today, the LIC has more than 75% of the market share. It provides employment to more than 12.5 lakh people across the country. Unfortunately, the Insurance Regulatory and Development Authority of India has come up with a draft proposal that it will adversely affect the future of the LIC. The detrimental clause of the proposal aims to hit hard on the commission of the LIC agents by linking it with management expenses and reducing the maximum commission of the agents from 25% to 20%. Sir, it does not stop here. By giving rebates on policy premiums purchased directly from the insurer, it is striking down the role of agents who are key players in this sector. Sir, the LIC is spread over the length and breadth of the country, including the deepest rural pockets where no company and their agents exist. If the IRDA India's proposal comes into implementation, it would gravely harm the whole LIC sector and will demotivate the agents who will eventually driven out of the sector. This can create a situation, mass employment in the country. Sir, I request the Ministry of Finance to look into the matter and withdraw the unjust proposal of IRDA India. Thank you very much, sir.
T.N. Prathapan ji.
Thank you, sir. Trichy is known as a cultural capital of Kerala for its rich cultural and engagement with arts and literature. Trichy has also a good legacy of many temple arts. At Trichy, a Central Research Institute for Temple Arts can preserve the legacy of temple arts and it can promote them to international attention. Due to lack of effective attention, many of the temple arts are losing its richness and traditions. The Research Institute can bring them together and it will facilitate a platform for flourishing their traditions. Trichy currently has a good potential for a network of temple pilgrim centers. It has academies of several performing arts. This atmosphere may strengthen a research academy of temple arts in Trichy. Such an institute can start courses for temple arts, encourage research of them, and facilitate a museum of equipments used for temple arts. Therefore, I request the Honorable Minister of Culture to establish a research institute of temple arts in Trichy. Thank you, sir.
Dr. Shri Gautam Sigamani Pon.
Thank you, sir. So, Ulundurpeta Salem National Highway and Kallakurichi Parliamentary Constituency is an accident-prone zone, sir. Accidents take place daily, and in the last 11 years, from 2011 to 22, around 1,036 deaths have been reported, sir. The cause for the accidents is because the four-way National Highway track Ulundurpeta Salem is incomplete. This project started in July 2008 at an estimate of 941 crores. Is still not completed, but was said to be completed in 2013. Fact is, the work is still incomplete. Athur, Vayapadi, Udayapatti, Chinnasalem, Kallakurichi, Tyagaduruvam, Elevanasur, and Ulundurpete are left as two-way roads, sir, instead of four-way roads. Four-way roads shrink to two-way roads and over bridges having dangerous curves causing tragic accidents. The NH connecting Salem and Chennai via Ulundurpet and Villupuram is very vital as it has many education institutions and facilitates large number of small and medium-scale industries in Salem, Namakkal, Kadalur, and Villupuram districts. The speedy completion of the national highway, which is incomplete for more than 10 years, will help in bringing new industries here. Hence, I request the government should speed up the National Highway NH 79 road connecting Salem and Ulundurpet, lying unfinished for several years now, and prevent the loss of unfortunate lives in such accidents. Thank you, sir.
Shri Raghuram Krishna Raju ji.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, sir, Chairman, sir. The Fiscal Responsibility and Budget Management FRBM Act was enacted in 2003 with the aim to establish financial discipline, improve the administration of public finances, strengthen financial prudence, and reduce the revenue deficit, thereby to maintain a sustainable economic growth in the country. During the last 2 decades, it has been subjected to many amendments by the state governments to borrow more funds to meet the expenditure of their states, which resulted into a larger revenue deficit, contrary to the main objective of FRBM Act. Some state governments are resorting to use it as a tool to increase their borrowings by showing fictitious corporations that have no income of their own, where the repayments were being paid by the government. Because of such irresponsible and indisciplined borrowings of few state governments, the main objective of the FRBM Act is being defeated, and revenue deficit of those states is increasing instead of reduction. In view of the above, through this August House, I request the Honorable Prime Minister and Honorable Minister for Finance to embark on taking immediate corrective steps before it goes out of hands and save the economy of the state, especially from the state where I got elected. Thank you, sir.
सभापति महोदय, देश में मछुआरों की हालत किसी से भी छुपी नहीं है। आज के समय में मछुआरों और मछली पकड़ने के अतिरिक्त कोई व्यवसाय नहीं होने के कारण वह अपने परिवार का ठीक से भरण पोषण नहीं कर पा रहे हैं और अपने बच्चों को अच्छी शिक्षा नहीं दे पा रहे हैं। मछुआरों की आर्थिक हालत ठीक न होने के कारण बचपन से ही अपने बच्चों को मछली पकड़ने के व्यवसाय में लगा देते हैं। आज भी देश के मछुआरों के पास पक्के मकान नहीं है, इसकी वजह से उन्हें कोलीवाड़ा में रहना पड़ रहा है तथा यह कोलीवाड़ा समुद्र के किनारे ही बने होते हैं। समुद्र के किनारे होने के कारण ये लोग कोस्टल रेगुलेशन जोन में जाते हैं। इनका परिवार बदलतर हालत में जीने को मजबूर है। मछुआरे अपनी नौकाओं को वर्षा के समय बारिश से बचाने के लिए प्लास्टिक इत्यादि चीजों का इस्तेमाल करते हैं। उचित साधन नहीं होने के कारण उनकी नौकाएं जल्दी खराब हो जाती है। इनके पास कोल्ड स्टोरेज नहीं होने के कारण इनकी पकड़ी मछली जल्दी खराब हो जाती है। इनकी परेशानी यह खत्म नहीं होती है तथा मछुआरे मछली पकड़ने ज्यादातर खाड़ी इलाके में जाते हैं, जिसमें कीचड़ होने के कारण मछली नहीं पकड़ सकते। इस वजह से उनके व्यवसाय में कमी आ रही है। अतः अध्यक्ष सभापति महोदय, मैं आपके माध्यम से माननीय मंत्री महोदय जी से मांग करता हूं कि मछुआरों के भरण पोषण के लिए समय समय पर सरकारी अनुदान दिया जाना चाहिए। केरोसिन, पेट्रोल पर भी सब्सिडी सही वक्त पे देनी चाहिए। कोल्ड स्टोरेज की उचित व्यवस्था होनी चाहिए तथा उन खाड़ी इलाकों की उचित सफाई की जाए जहां पर मछुआरे मछली पकड़ने जाते हैं तथा सरकार मछुआरों के व्यवसाय बढ़ाने और इनके बच्चों को उचित शिक्षा देने के लिए कोई उचित योजना बनाए जिससे उनकी परेशानी जल्दी से जल्द खत्म हो सकती है। धन्यवाद सभापति महोदय।
श्री महाबली सिंह जी।
सभापति महोदय, मेरे संसदीय क्षेत्र काराकाट के अंतर्गत नवीन नगर विधानसभा क्षेत्र के अनुग्रह नारायण रोड रेलवे स्टेशन जिला मुख्यालय का मुख्य स्टेशन है सर। जबकि अनुग्रह नारायण रोड से मुंशी बिगहा, जीवा बिगहा सीरीज के रास्ते चरण, रेंगनिया, मझौली, सुनौरा, अकोढ़ा जो BRBCL और NTPC का
सर, G20 में भी मुलाकात हुई होगी, कई जगह मुलाकात हुई होगी। क्या जहां हमारे 20 जवानों की शहादत हुई, उस चीन सीमा के संदर्भ में जहां चीन ने बलपूर्वक कब्जा किया, कोई वार्ता आपकी हुई है? बस इतना ही जानना चाहता हूं। आप बताना चाहे बताएं, और अगर बताने लायक ना हो तो मत बताइएगा।
I think one second. One second. I had made an appeal to the honorable members, and you are more cognizant than I am. This is a House of Elders, the upper house. We are required to conduct our proceedings in a manner that generates an ecosystem of emulation all over. The Honorable Minister has imparted a very thorough statement. Members of the House are entitled to seek clarifications. In a methodical manner, input has been made available to me. I would be happy that others also follow the same system. Dr. Amar Patnaik.
Thank you, Chairman, sir. I'd like to thank Honorable External Affairs Minister for a very detailed and expansive statement about India's foreign policy outreach, as well as meeting domestic requirements. I have just two clarifications to ask to Honorable Minister at paragraph number 12. There is a general statement at number of paragraphs regarding India's leadership role in the technology front. On the specific question of trusted cross-border data flow, as well as to deal with virtual digital assets, would India be considering promotion of a global body to have a principle-based global order on the lines of the WTO, or would it like to do this entire thing within the ambit of WTO? The second clarification, sir, is that all over the world, wherever I travel, the question of inequity, particularly in the areas of health, area of education, digital inequity, these arise, but in Africa, for example. Would India be taking the lead in putting this particular ethos in the G20 and represent the least developed countries of Africa, Asia, and Southeast Asia to the global north? Thank you so much.
Honorable Minister.
So, with regard to the clarification sought on digital.
Minister, finally, the Honorable Minister would respond. I have another list with me, just given to me, Shri Waiko. We have three more names, Honorable Minister. Initially, there was one.
Honorable Mr. Chairman, sir, the statement given by the minister shows very clearly that our mutual interests with other countries and our positive approach towards other countries. But I would like to know, Geneva, under the United Nations, it is a very important organization. There, when the voting took place regarding Sri Lanka, for what reasons India abstained from voting? This is my first clarification. I want to from reply from you. Second thing, at our doorstep, the genocide took place. Lakhs and lakhs of Tamils were killed, and women were raped, and children were killed, and the previous government gave weapons. That is different. But now, when all these things have happened, you are giving support now to Sri Lanka. But Sri Lanka has leased out Hambantota port to China, and recently also Chinese warship landed in the port
compromising our national security and coastal security. It will have a serious bearing on India's security and economic and strategic interests and maritime and coastal facilities. On this important issue, what steps you have taken to protect the interests of India?
Professor Manoj Kumar Jha.
Thank you, Honorable Chairman, sir. My compliments to you on assuming a charge. My first compliment to Honorable Minister, sir. It is very comprehensive. You almost touched every aspect of it. But there are certain concerns which I would like to know from you. Many a time when we read about Government of India's stand or position paper, it seems that the foreign policy has only been shaped by after 2014. So this 2014 centric approach of foreign policy undermines the people and the processes which were involved since 1947. Number one, sir. Number two, India had a very stated position, Honorable Minister, sir, through you, Honorable Chairman. In a conflict between oppressor and the oppressed, India never was neutral. Between a fight between an elephant and an ant, if your neutrality helps the elephant, I think there somehow, recent developments in Gaza, I think I didn't hear anything from Government of India. And finally, between Ukraine and Russia, it was a very, very delicate chapter. We have our versions different from you, but whatever I think you could create a space, you did, but it could have been better. Thank you so much, sir.
Dr. John Bittas.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Let me also congratulate you taking this opportunity. I'm glad that the Honorable Minister made a very detailed statement touching every point. At the same time, I support my colleague, Mr. Manoj Jha, that he has avoided dealing with the Palestinian cause for which India has been always steadfast. So I would request the Honorable Minister to have his response on that. So the second clarification is that there have been a lot of talk regarding the extent of pressure exerted by the West on India with regard to the purchase of oil from Russia. The minister has been very diversionary on that point. I would request him to obviously pronounce his mind on that. So the third point is that there has been a price cap imposed by the European Union with regard to the oil price from Russia. How it is going to impact the purchase of oil from Russia vis-a-vis India and Russia. So the fourth point is that, is it not a fact that the chairmanship of G20 is on a rotational basis? And if so, the theme that one earth, one family, one future, will the government respect the diverse culture of India while campaigning on this slogan? And the last point, sir, not the least, sir, there have been thousands of students who have come back from Ukraine. And there was a statement by the Honorable Minister last time. I would like to know from the Minister whether all these students have gone back to Ukraine or how he has facilitated the study further. Thank you, sir.
Shri Tiruchi Siva.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, sir. Sir, we appreciate our Prime Minister's voice at Samarkand, declaring that this is not an era of war. But the Ukraine war is still going on. The people there are undergoing so much of struggle. They are struggling for basic food and everything. Other than the students who have come here, whose future is still in a question and they have not yet been resolved. In a humanitarian consideration, India has always intervened wherever there is some problem for any human being in the world. So in this context, what are the steps our government is taking to put an end to this war and save the people of Ukraine, as well as to restore the students who have returned from there, to find a way for those students who have returned from Ukraine? Thank you, sir.
Shri Thambi Durai.
Thank you very much for giving the opportunity. Sir, our Honorable Minister gave detailed explanation and a statement regarding the foreign affairs thing. I appreciate him. and also especially G20, which is going to take place, is a very good for our Indian country. Our Modi ji has taken a lot of efforts, appreciate. But, sir, as our honorable member Vaiko ji raised on issue, Sri Lanka Tamil issue, apart from that, Sri Lanka and India had a pact to solve the Sri Lankan Tamil issue. That I'm giving some amendment and protect the rights. What is the stage now? That is, at the time, Jayavardhane and Honorable former Prime Minister Rajiv Gandhi, they made an agreement. Whether the government is very seriously insisting that to get the, because when we are conducting a program, the G20, it is a prestige for India. At the same time, our neighbor, our brothers who also has said diet and also for certain causes. But what is the fate of that fact? Whether government India has taken a serious step on this thing?
Mr. Sujit Kumar. Sir, I will certainly commend the Honorable Minister for his detailed statement on India's foreign policy and for providing competent leadership. Sir, I have a specific query for him. Sir, while all eyes are on the World Cup in Qatar, sir, little is known about the fate of 8 Indian ex-naval officers who are in detention in that country for close to 100 days now. Sir, as per newspaper reports, they were picked up in the middle of the night from their home and are kept in solitary confinement since 30th of August. And consular access was provided to them only on 3rd of October. Sir, the family members have expressed serious concerns about the health, mental harassment of the ex-heroes of our country. And sir, it seems that MEA is not very forthcoming on what dialogue is going on with the Qatari government to secure and seek their release and repatriation. And also, sir, it is believed that this has been done and they have been charged with espionage, apparently at the behest of one of our neighbor, unfriendly neighbor. So, sir, through you, sir, I would like to know from the Honorable Minister, what are the steps being taken by the Government of India to seek the release of our former heroes? Thank you. Mr. Pramod Tiwari. No, he was interrupted. I asked him to take seat because it had not come through a method. Go ahead.
सर, मेरा सिर्फ एक विनम्रता पूर्वक राष्ट्र हित में एक सवाल है कि मिले होंगे आप, वहां अच्छी बात भी हुई होगी, G20 में भी मिले थे और जगह मिले थे। हमारे 21 जवानों की शहादत हुई है भारत चीन सीमा पर। कुछ भूभाग भी उन्होंने काफी कब्जा कर रखा है। क्या उसके संदर्भ में कोई वार्ता हुई हो तो आप अवश्य बताएं, पूरा राष्ट्र जानना चाहता है, ये आवश्यक है। बहुत ही बहुत धन्यवाद।
Mr. Vinod Vishwam.
Sir, thank you. Sir, the statement made by the Honorable Minister, Jaishankar ji, is so important to the contemporary times. And the keen interest the House attributed to him shows that how important it is for this House also. I am grateful to the Minister and for his broad-heartedness. So on certain questions, I share the views raised by my colleagues like Manoj Kumar Jha and John Bittas and some others. Sir, certain questions, India has to be very clear that on Palestine, always we were having a position. We stood with the people of Palestine. We regarded them always as our friends and sons and daughters. Now we feel whether there is a tilt of our voice in that matter. Kindly be clarified. Sir, just like that, the concerns of the students who came from Ukraine is haunting all of us. I know that the minister also tried his level best, but still they are having anxiety of their future, their families too. Kindly adjust them. Sir, the third point is that the SAU, South Asian University, run by the SAARC countries. India is hosting it in Delhi. Sir, the SAU students and the teachers are facing a problem. That has to be settled. I am very sure that the diplomatic skill of our minister can help it. I am very sure that he has intervened. I wrote to him, he replied to me also. But I am very clearly telling you, the matters are yet to be answered clearly. So please serve the issue. My next point is that regarding I went through the agenda of G20, and now you are the chairman. The chairmanship is rotation, sir. Last year it was Indonesia. Next year somebody else will come. It will come. So it is very good that India is now the chairman. Of course, by rotation. During this chairmanship, we believe that our great country will make its own impact on the G20 countries and all over the world. In that regard, I may ask the government. In the agenda of the G20, I read women empowerment is an important issue. Women empowerment. Will the government be positive enough to enact the women reservation bill during this period? My question. Next question is that regarding the environment. He also mentioned it. The agenda of the G20, environment and climate change is very properly focused. And now we see that in Nicobar Islands, my friends knows it, Subhandar Yadav knows it. Big disastrous steps are being taken there. Lakhs and lakhs of trees are being cut off. And the balance of the island and the whole situation area is the
Clarification.
So I request the, no. So I
focus the point.
I am focusing on you, sir. I am focusing on you, and I am focusing on you, the protection also. Sir, some friends there, out of their voice or enthusiasm, they want to raise voice and make people silent. I can tell you, that's not the way of the house. I want to conclude that. Let me conclude. Let me finish the question. No, sir. Let me finish it. Let me finish it. I respect the chairman.
Okay.
One sentence more. Sir, one sentence more.
Point of order.
One sentence more.
1 second.
Sir, Rule 240.
Rule
240.
240. Yes.
Sir, irrelevance. The chairman, after having called the attention of the council to conduct of a member who persist in irrelevance. Sir, ये completely जो foreign policy का issue है, हमने regulation से कोई चीज पास करी है, पार्लियामेंट में मैं क्वेश्चन का जवाब दूंगा, जो इनका irrelevant विषय वो कार्यवाही से हटाया जाए सर, क्योंकि irrelevant चीज आप डिबेट में नहीं बोल सकते सर. Rule is very much clear.
Honorable members, it is, I think, third time on the first day I am required to appeal to you. I seek your cooperation. I have indicated with clarity the kind of anguish, disillusionment which the proceedings are imparting in public at large. More than any other theater of legislature, this theater has to take the lead. This theater has to set standards that are to be emulated by any other center in the country. I would therefore urge you to confine to dignity, decorum, and be in a focused manner. I have carefully gone through every word is spoken by the Honorable Minister, and you will find a spinal strength of the foreign policy which he has articulated in a focused manner. I personally have had the occasion on my 2 visits abroad, the kind of reflections that have affirmatively evoked. I would appreciate that while you raise your concerns, he is the right person to respond to your issues by way of imparting clarification. We must, 1 second, we must also be cognizant that we are dealing with a sensitive issue of national importance that has impact in the country and outside. Your concerns reflected are critical and important. They would be responded. But if there is any diversion, dilution, or some kind of a distraction, that will not be in consonance with the upper house or the House of Elders. I would now call upon
Okay.
Last sentence. No.
Okay, 1 second. Last sentence. Go ahead. Please conclude.
If there is no mention in the G20 agenda on the women empowerment and climate change, I withdraw my position. If there is, I ask the government, what you do in Nicobar Islands are anti-environment, disaster to environment. Kindly stop it.
Okay. Lieutenant General Dr. D.P. Watts.
Sir, through you, I want to clarify from the MEA. Indian diaspora is the biggest in the world, but still it needs to expand. And lakhs of students, especially with technical know-how, they want to go on work visa, on study visa. What MEA is doing to encourage such technocrats who want to achieve the know-how, expertise, and be beneficial to us in earning foreign exchange.
Sri Syed Nazir Hussain.
Sir, thank you, sir, for giving me this opportunity. Sir, as you know, and most of the members of the House knows, that in last couple of sessions, we have been raising this issue of Indo-China border dispute. And we have been raising this issue through the rule of the House, and on several occasions, it was not allowed to be discussed in the House. I would have liked the External Affairs Minister to have dwelled upon this issue in his statement. It's an important issue, and I wish he not only clarifies today, and I wish he gives a separate statement on the state of affairs on our border. One. Second, sir, I had already written a letter to the External Affairs Minister on South Asian University. He had replied back to me, which was not very satisfactory. I think, though the South Asian countries are involved in that university, since it is situated in India, especially in the national capital, when the students are agitating and the teachers are also involved, and a couple of them happens to be my friends also, my classmates also. So I think that should have been taken up seriously, and it should have been resolved instead of punishing the students. The third issue is, sir, as many of our friends stated, on the issue of Palestine, we have a well-stated foreign policy. Our stand is very clear from last 40, 50 years. I think we should be moving in that direction. There should be more clarity from the days of our freedom struggle. So I think there should be more clarity, and there should be some clarification on that issue also. Thank you so much, sir.
Sri A.A. Rahim.
Sir, the MD Heroic Aiden is an oil tanker which is currently detained in Nigeria along with its crew. The crew consists of 26 sailors, of whom 16 are Indians. Sir, the sailors has been detained since 8th August. Sir, sir, this is a very aggressive matter. No. I am, see, no. See, so
honorable members,
so this is a concern.
Honorable members,
Sir, this is a concern.
honorable members, would you please take your seat? Take your seat. Once settle down, then I'm here to take care of the situation. If you start dealing amongst yourselves directly, I don't have to tell you the importance and relevance of the chair. What can be more unwholesome? There's a simple method of putting across one second. There is a method where you can put your point very firmly, persuasively, moderately, in any manner you like. It has to be through the chair. And we will be saving precious public time and getting good response by way of input from the Honorable Minister if there is formulation in precise terms. You raise your point.
Thank you, sir.
Please,
Thank you,
he's on legs.
thank you very much, sir.
You see, it does not look nice for me on the first day that I suffer these kind of interruptions. I am here to accommodate everyone. I am going to an extreme degree. But that accommodation has to be on rational premise and on some rationale. So don't have interest exchanges. I am the one you have to address. I am the one who has to call upon. Please conclude.
Sir, once again, I would like to salute you, sir.
Please.
Sir, since 4 months, 16 Indians are illegally detained. Illegally detained. This is my concern. This is my question. Sir, these 16 parents and families are absolutely they are under panic. So, what are you taking the steps regarding this issue? This is my question. I already wrote a detailed letter to Honorable Minister, and I hope that the government will take this issue with a serious manner. Thank you, sir.
Mr. Vishwadram. Yes, please.
Thank you, sir. Sir, here in this document, Minister has very detailed manner. He made the Pravasi Bharat Divas and the programs. So here, I request the Minister for the clarification regarding the government is aware of the number of the Indians in different countries and the number of Indians that their jobs and also how many are lost their jobs in this recent crisis. This thing is, if Minister is ready to explain here, that is very helpful for us.
Honorable members, there are no further names. So you should be happy to note that on this issue of critical importance, where the Honorable Minister has imparted his statement, I have given you full operational play. The Honorable Minister. Honorable Minister. Honorable Minister.
So I'd very quickly like to respond to the request for clarifications from multiple members, even if they couched it sometimes in a non-clarificatory way. Starting with Shri Amarpat Nayak ji, sir. The question of cross-border digital flows is not a direct foreign policy issue. It is under the domain of my colleague, Meity Minister. It is a matter on which governments have been put in the public domain for comments. So I think it is obviously something that will evolve as public comments come in and the matter will be pursued. Regarding his second clarification, inequity, will we speak up for Africa? Will we take up Africa's cause and interest in the G20? Absolutely, the answer is an unambiguous yes. Regarding Sir Vaikoji's two questions, one about our abstention in the UN Human Rights Commission. This has been a long-standing position by India, keeping in mind what not just this government, but its predecessor governments have also thought is the most constructive way of addressing and advancing the interests of the Tamil community in Sri Lanka. That continues to be our approach. Regarding the support we have given to Sri Lanka, please, I would request the honorable member to appreciate. We have given support to the entirety of Sri Lanka, which also includes the Tamil community, the Sinhalese community, the other communities. So we have not taken a communal approach to giving support. To have a neighbor in this kind of serious economic situation, we would be shirking our responsibilities if we did not step forward at that moment. And that is exactly what we have done. If I could move on, sir, to Dr. Manoj Kumar Jha's observations. One, he asked, the view of foreign policy is to 2014 centric. I don't think that is accurate. I think if you look at everything that I have said, it is not that, in some way I'm suggesting that what has been a continuing strain in our foreign policy, and I'll come to the Palestine issue particularly in that context. But since you are asking me, I would say yes, 2014 was a watershed moment. Yes, things have changed better after 2014. Yes, our foreign policy has become more dynamic, more effective, more prominent after 2014. So I think I'm so glad you picked up the 2014 issue, and I hope you will be supportive of it. Uh, on the Gaza issue and the Palestine issue, because some other members also raised it. We are very clear on Palestine. We support, sir, a two-state solution. We want a two-state solution with the two states living peacefully side by side. Some of the members suggested somewhere that our support or empathy for the Palestinians had changed. In fact, our financial support for the Palestinian Refugee Welfare Agency has gone up in the tenure of this government. I hope that honorable members would appreciate that. The issue was also raised about the neutrality, not my word, sir, this was the honorable member's clarification request, on the Ukraine situation. And Professor Jha suggested that he could do my job better. I mean, that is certainly he is free to hold that opinion. What I do want to say is we have been clear, publicly clear at the Prime Minister's level that this is not an era of war. We have consistently urged dialogue and diplomacy. When it comes to the impact of the war on Indian people or in the rest of the world, we have also done the right things about that. We have taken measures to soften the impact, whether it is of fuel or whether it is of food inflation, whether it is of fertilizer costs. So if it is your contention that our position has been in putting the interests of the Indian public first, I plead guilty to it. Yes, I put the interests of the Indian public first. It is my duty to ensure that fuel, fertilizer, food, the Indian public does not pay the cost of some other country's actions or some other region's actions. I think that is the way, in my view, at least foreign policy should be conducted. If I could turn then, sir, to Mr. John Brittas's comments. One, the Palestine issue I have already addressed. The pressure from the West, I think I have addressed publicly. I have said again what I have just mentioned. I would like to clarify. We do not ask our companies to buy Russian oil. We ask our companies to buy oil. What is the best option that they can get? Now, it depends on what the market throws up. If tomorrow the market gives us more competitive options, again, please do understand, it's not just we buy oil from one country. We buy oil from multiple sources. But it is sensible policy to go where we get the best deal in the interest of the Indian people. And that is exactly what we are trying to do. Regarding the oil cap, the impact of this is not very clear to us. Our concern is really what would it do to the stability and the affordability of the energy markets. That is a concern. On his clarification regarding diversity in the G20, absolutely yes. I mean, the fact that we are going to celebrate the G20 across the states of India in multiple cities in a manner in which we have never done any international event before. I think that is the greatest statement of proof of diversity, of our commitment to diversity that I can make. And it is spread without discrimination across every state of every region of this country. And finally, because again, multiple members asked about this, where on the Ukraine students, some of the students have gone back, some have looked for other solutions. In some cases, the Ukrainian authorities have offered some solutions. So it is a very mixed picture. Unfortunately, there is no clean and simple answer here, but the government is doing what it can in this situation. That was also a concern which Trichy Shivaji raised about the Ukrainian students. If I could turn then, sir, to the clarification sought by Thambi Doreji about the India-Sri Lanka agreement of 1987. It is still an agreement. It is an agreement which has been the basis for changes in Sri Lanka, including provincial councils which have come about as a result. In our view, it is still an agreement that continues to remain the foundation of how both our relationship with Sri Lanka is conducted and how Sri Lanka itself looks at its own future. So I would like to assure him that we continue to, it is very much on our radar. We are very, very supportive of it. Then, sir, if I could turn to the clarification sought by Shri Sujit Kumarji. This is a very sensitive case. I'm referring to the detention of some of our ex-servicemen in Qatar. I can only say, because their interests are foremost in our minds, I can only assure him we have been seized of the matter. Our ambassador, senior officials have been in continuous touch with the Qatari government on this. Our effort is obviously to ensure that they are not treated unfairly and that if the sooner we can bring them back home. So I assure you that they are very much, very strongly in our priorities in respect of Qatar, and it is something that we will be pursuing. Regarding Shri Pramod Tiwariji's clarification request on China, and I think Nazir Hussain ji also brought up the same issue. Diplomatically, we have been very clear. We have been very clear with the Chinese that we will not tolerate, we will not countenance attempts to unilaterally change the line of actual control, and that so long as they continue to seek to do that, and if they have built up forces which in our minds constitute a serious concern in the border areas, then our relationship is not normal. And the abnormality of that has been in evidence in the last few years. Meanwhile, the military commanders continue to engage each other, and I think given the sensitivity of that matter, it is something which is left to the military commanders to deal with, and I think the House should be understanding of the national sensitivity of such a delicate matter. Regarding Vinay Vishwamji's issue, I think the Palestinian issue I have addressed, the Ukrainian issue I have addressed, but I think two members, sir, had concerns about the South Asia University. He did, and Nazir Hussain ji did. I would like to assure the members, we would like, obviously, to not see this kind of situation. But the South Asian University is not under the direct jurisdiction of the Government of India or the Ministry of External Affairs. It is something which is run by a collection of countries. And part of the problem is that some of the countries have not made the payments which they were required to do for the university. So the university is going through a period of very severe financial stress. Now, beyond that, there are issues of management and academic freedom for the university, because it is an international university. It is not the policy of the Government of India to interfere in the workings of an international university. But we will, whatever influence and counsel we can give them to sort out any problems in an amicable and non-stressful way, certainly we would do that. On the issue of agenda of G20, yes, women-led development would certainly be high among our priorities, as will be a set of sustainability issues, including, as my own statement said, lifestyle for environment. I think it's not, again, my direct subject. My colleague Bhupender Yadav ji will bear out that at COP27, what we are doing in environment is, I think, today increasingly recognized. I had the privilege, along with him, to be with the Prime Minister at COP26 as well. So I think we should look really at today at how the world sees our contributions and progress when it comes to climate action and climate justice. So I would not take the very pessimistic view which the honorable member has done. Regarding General Wats's point about study visas, we are very concerned that a number of countries, for reasons which have to do with finance and their processes, have slowed down issue of visas. We have taken up with many of these countries. I myself have done at the ministerial level with the US, with the UK. Yesterday, I did it with Germany. In many cases, our intervention has led to an improvement. I still think there is some distance to go, but it is certainly, as I said, we run a people-centric foreign policy in the Modi government, and certainly today, facilitating the faster issue of visas would be very, very high among our priorities. Finally, on the heroic Idum, the ship visit, ship issue, sir, the one in Nigeria, even though it is not a policy issue, as my colleague recognized, I would like the member to know we have been in touch with the crew since August. It was detained, the people were initially detained in Equatorial Guinea. They were then brought to Nigeria. They are facing charges in court. There are a number of charges, including oil smuggling against them. We have given them consular support. Our High Commissioner has gone to see them. It is again our endeavor to ensure that they are not unjustly treated, that they have full access to all recourse of law, and that they have the ability to communicate with their family. The last question, the loss of jobs. How many Indians are there abroad? Our estimate is that there are 3.2 crore persons of Indian origin and Indian nationals living abroad. But regarding their job loss figures during the COVID, that is not something, because the data is not maintained by Government of India, so I cannot honestly answer the question. So I hope, sir, I have provided full clarification to all the questions.
The Wildlife Protection Amendment Bill 2022, Shri Bhupender Yadav to move a motion for consideration of the Wildlife Protection Amendment Bill 2022. Time allotted is 4 hours.
Respected Chairman, sir, I move that the Wildlife Protection Amendment Bill 2022, as passed by the Lok Sabha to further amend the Wildlife Protection Act 1972, be taken into consideration.
Honorable members, Honorable Minister, if you like to say about the bill, you may speak.
मैं कुछ बोलना चाहूंगा। माननीय सभापति महोदय, भारतीय वन्यजीव संरक्षण विधेयक जो 1972 में पारित किया गया था, उसमें मैं संशोधन के लिए विधेयक सदन के समक्ष प्रस्तावित करता हूं।